Imagine a world where you are part of a community that sees you for all that you bring and propels you to become your very best self. A world where everyone is valued for what they bring and everyone gets the support they need. Savor Exchange brings this dream to reality by empowering individuals, communities, and organizations with the right tools and resources to change the world. We do this by organizing people near and far around a goal or project and bringing them together and measuring their success. Our data analytical reports will provide information to support transparency and critical needs in today's world. The SaverX app acts as a secure bridge to multiple communities, including those defined by you, and allows everyone within their community to contribute time through service and request help for themselves. Members can also donate service credits, money, or goods back to their community. Go to www.saverxapp.com to learn more and start your Saver community today.
Hey, Shweta.
Hey.
I think it's already recording.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah, that's cool.
So the host must have made that setting.
Yeah. Yeah, let's wait.
Cool. Are we ready?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's yeah, I think I'm ready. Fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it'll be good. Oh, this is getting recorded.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Living a Happy and Purposeful Life. Find your Ikigai. I'm Kathy Thakur,
And I'm Shalrika Patil.
and it's really great to meet you. Meet you all. I'm living in California, so it's like 12 a.m. here right now.
Yeah, it's like past noon for me. It's like 12:30 p.m. for me. So yeah, I think it's amazing though that everyone's here.
Right. I think I can start with my introduction, and then Shalvika can introduce herself, and then we can start with the workshop. So my name is Kathy. I am an Indian immigrant living in the US. I'm working as a senior software engineer in California, San Jose, which is in Northern California. I'm also a co-founder of two edtech startups. One of my startups is called LifeKey ABC, which means the ABC of life. And we focus on teaching or mentoring Indian students in schools on leadership skills or the 21st century skills that they don't usually have access to in schools. And my second edtech startup is called Home is School. It is also based in India, and we focus on providing homeschooling parents in India resources and communities and free curriculum for homeschooling. And in addition to that, I'm also a co-host of a podcast called Brown Girls Read. So what we do, my co-host and I, we discuss different books in the context of our Indian upbringing. So we discuss books, and we also get authors of the books to discuss their books. So that is what I do. Shalika, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi everyone. I'm Shalvika. I live in this place called Pune in India. Um, I am actually an engineer by training, and I worked in the corporate world for 8.5 years before quitting my job last year and becoming a full-time coach. So now I work as a mindset and clarity coach. And to be honest, this whole topic of living a happy and purposeful life is one of the reasons why I took that jump. It was because, even though being in the corporate job kind of uh, fit all the check boxes that you're supposed to fit, it just did not feel fulfilling to me. And so today, my mission, the mission of my company, is to help everyone get unstuck and build a life, business, and career that's aligned AF. So that's who we are. That's what we do. So we do that through courses. We do that through one-on-one coaching. We do that through group programs and masterminds. So there's a lot of ways in which I try to bring clarity and purpose into people's lives. And so yeah, that's about me. I have two cats, and my husband and I live in Pune. So I think we can start with the session, Kathy. Yeah, and before we jump into the actual workshop, we just want to let you know that this event is brought to you by Seva Exchange. Give what you love and get what you need to get things done. Reinventing volunteerism by providing an easy to use web and mobile platform to discover one's passions through community service and to seek help when in need. Over to you, Kathy.
Sorry, I think I was on mute. So thanks, Shalvika. And before starting, I think we are going to keep a Q&A after our talk. So any questions that you have, feel free to ask them. So let's begin with the topic of the day, which is happiness. Since this is the happiness event, I think we have to talk about happiness a little bit. Um, and right now, it seems like everyone is running after happiness, right? Or actually, if I have to rephrase it, everyone is running after portraying that they are happy, like portraying that they are extremely happy on social media, right? On Instagram, TikTok, or anywhere else. But does anyone really know how to be eternally happy? Because happiness means different things to different people at different stages of their lives. So to a 16-year-old, happiness could mean dating their crush. To a 21-year-old, happiness could mean getting more Instagram followers or getting into a really great university. To a 25-year-old, happiness could mean finding a job in a multinational company. To a 30-year-old, happiness could mean something else, right? Like becoming a billionaire or something like that. So you keep chasing these random things that you believe will make you happy. But actually, happiness is very fleeting. It's actually so fleeting that it can just go away. If someone asks you, are you really happy? Like, have you ever experienced that? If someone asks you, hey, are you happy? And you just go into this deep state of introspection where you're like, am I really happy? Like, what am I doing wrong? What would make me happy? You know, all of these things. And that happens because, like I talked about earlier, happiness cannot be a goal in itself. So, what is the ultimate goal? And this is the exact question that the author of the book Ikigai, Hector Garcia, had in mind when he started to do some research on happiness, like what makes people happy, what makes people come alive. And he found this village, during his research, he found this village in Japan called Ogini. And there they they have the highest population of longest living individuals in the world. Like they have 3,200 people in there, and everyone in that village is 80 plus years old, and they are happy. It's not like they're old and sad and retired and not working or depressed. They're actually happy, they're active and not depressed at all. How is that possible? So he started interviewing all of these people, and he realized that there was this one thing that really made them come alive in their day. And that is that these people were still living a meaningful and a useful life. And that is why they were happy. That is what they defined as happiness, meaning and usefulness in your day. So, like I said earlier, happiness cannot be a goal in itself. The goal, like Hector Garcia mentions in Ikigai, or he finds out in Ikigai, is to live a useful life. So what keeps us momentarily happy is when we are doing something meaningful with your time. What keeps us momentarily happy is actually when you're doing something that aligns with your purpose. The day you have a reason to get out of bed in the morning is the happiest day. And this is my favorite definition of Ikigai, a reason to jump out of bed each morning. And when you have found this reason to jump out of bed each morning, you have found meaning, you have found usefulness, and in turn, you have found happiness. And that is what Ikigai says. And then, yeah, so this is what Ikigai says. But also another thing is that, it doesn't have to be like your purpose doesn't necessarily have to be something that you get paid for. It doesn't have to be your day job, because we take so much stress over, we have to find purpose in our day jobs. And, this is what will keep us going. But it could be a hobby. It could be as simple as a small hobby, right? But if it keeps you busy and makes you feel meaningful and useful, you'll be fulfilled, you'll be happy. And this happiness becomes even more meaningful and long lasting if what you're doing is aligned with your purpose and with your Ikigai. So now to walk us over how you can get yourself aligned with your purpose, how you can find meaning in your day-to-day life, I will have Shalvika. I'll give it over to Shalvika and she can talk about it.
All right. So there's a few disclaimers here. Okay. One is, honestly, a half an hour workshop is not going to give you all your answers, right? It's a journey. It's something that you build towards brick by brick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you with a few actionable things. And of course, we're going to do like a real time walk through to all of those questions that you can actually ask yourself with Kathy. And we will do that bit. So yeah, that's the first part. Half an hour is just the start, just the beginning, just the introduction on how you can get on this path, right? That's one. Second is it has to be built brick by brick. It has to be worked towards every day of your life, because at the end of the day, we live in a world where we have like, I don't know, like a zillion distractions. And it's very easy to kind of get off that track. So these are just a couple of disclaimers that I want to give before we dive into our today's workshop. The The few things that I want to say about, and I think Kathy already touched upon that, is the idea that a lot of people also come to me with this, that, I'm passionate about this and I want to work on how I can monetize it. And that's the thing. You have to realize that a passion is something that you cannot or you should not always monetize, right? Like, you can be passionate about even raising your children. Something as mundane as raising your children is something that brings passion to so many people I know. I know someone who actually feeds about 200 dogs, street dogs in Pune. And like, she's passionate about that. Does that mean that it's her livelihood? No, not necessarily. Like this graph says, right? Like, it's not, it's a very, the diagrams are extremely overlapping. So it cannot always be that you will be at that sweet spot. That's one. Two is, in this entire pursuit of finding what your purpose is, it's very important to make a distinction between your end goals and your means goals. And I'll explain what that means, right? So say your end goal is you want to travel, right? Um, a means goal will be something like, I want to make money so that I can travel every year. Now, making money is always a means to an end. Money is a resource that you can do that enables us to do other things in life. So if your existence is surrounded around a means goal, like I want to make more money, if that is what your existence is surrounded around, that's not going to lead to personal satisfaction. That's not going to lead to happiness or a feeling of fulfillment. Because at the end of the day, money is a means to an end. And money is just an example. You can like replace it with so many things, like relationships. You can replace it with love. You can replace it with jobs, like the next fancy job, right? All of these are means to an end. What's your end goal? I'd really want you to start focusing on that, because when you shift your focus to your end goals, then things automatically start prioritizing for you. And if you have any questions in between, just drop off in the comments and we can take them at the end so that, they are there. You don't have to remember the whole time. All right, so let's like dive into the few questions that we want to dive into today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to Kathy about a few things in her life, because the whole idea is your purpose is something, your sense of purpose is something that comes from within you. And that's why it looks so different for different people. It's not going to be, it's not, there is no guidebook that says these 10 purposes are what like fit everyone. There's nothing like that. Like, everyone's purpose comes from their own experience, comes from their own conditioning, comes from their own journeys. And that's exactly what we are going to explore, so that you can get to a space of finding that clarity for yourself. So Kathy, let's start with a few questions. And what we have done is we are also going to share these questions with you. Like, we will have a slide with these questions so that you can either snapshot it or, just like save it for yourselves at the end of this discussion. So, okay, let's talk about your journey, Kathy. Can you tell us about, say, maybe two instances in your life that kind of altered the course of either your personal growth or your professional growth?
Yeah, I think so. Two instances would be I did my master's from the US. I moved to India. I moved to the US from India in 2014. So that was like one of the instances. Like, it completely, that decision actually completely changed my life. For good as well, sometimes for bad too, but yeah. And then the next instance would be probably 2 to 3 years back, when I got like severely depressed, and I was living in the US alone. But yeah, so that was like one. I learned way too many things from that instance, that year. So yeah, both of those.
Right. And the reason why we are exploring these aspects of your journey, is because these are kind of teachable points in your life. Anytime there has been certain change or transformation or growth, or even an episode like depression, that tells you a lot about what really makes you excited about life, happy about life, content about life, and what does not. And knowing what does not is equally important, or I think it's rather more important than knowing what does make you uh, happy. The next thing I want to talk to you about, Kathy, is where, like, was there an instant in your life where you felt like you were navigating completely blindly, like you were not, you were just letting things happen to you?
Yeah, I think it was after I graduated from my master's, because after that I had just been like, so because my perception of doing a master's would be that I would be earning really well, and I would be living my dream life in California. And once I got that, like once I started working in a really great company and I got like a six-figure salary or whatever, I was like, okay, this now what, right? Like this is where I knew what was going to happen, but after that, I don't know. So I just went along with whatever was happening to me.
And that's exactly why I talked about the distinction between an end goal and a means goal, right? Like making X amount of money, living in your dream house, buying your dream car, all of these. I mean, they could be end goals for some people, and which is fine.
Right. I think there's some technical difficulty. Shalvika, can you hear us?
Yeah, she froze for me too.
Yeah, I think let me just so oh, I think she joined again.
Hey, sorry, I am back. I had some, yeah, technical difficulty. So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So that's why it's so important to distinguish between your means goals and your end goals. Uh, the next thing I want to talk to you about is, what kind of questions did you start asking yourself before that realization happened? That when you were on the brink of that realization that I want something more.
I think, yeah, like one of the questions that I kept asking myself was, so this is where I always wanted to be, but why am I not fulfilled? Why, like, what is missing in my day-to-day life? What is missing in my job? That, that I think, because of that, I'm not fulfilled, because I'm a software engineer. I like to create things, which is what I was doing, but I was still not, happy with my job or my company. So yeah, so these were some questions.
Next thing I want to talk about is in our lives, right? There are a lot of people who know that I want to take that leap. Like I want to get to a space where I feel more fulfilled, where I feel more happy, where I, just live out my purpose. But what really stops us from actually doing that is, all of these blocks that we have. We have all of these mental blocks. We have limiting beliefs. We have our conditioning that kind of holds us back from living that fulfilled life, right? So what we're going to do next is we are going to dive into like a quick method of how you can rephrase those. And be holding you back, uh, labels, right? So labels are anything that people call you as. These are boxes that you are put over the years in, right? So these can be, these are things that you were told that you are, and were repeated often enough So that you got to a point where you actually started believing, right? That's what a label is. And that's a very short form way of identifying your biggest limiting blocks. So what is like one label that stands out for you, Kathy, that you know that kind of held you back from being fulfilled?
Yeah, I think one label could be that I was, well, I guess even in schools or after school, everyone's been telling me that I'm like super underconfident. So I think that was one of the labels that might have, influenced my actions.
Yeah, right. And again, knowing whatever it is that you're doing with your podcasts, with your startups, everything, it's very difficult for me to believe you are someone who's underconfident. But because it is repeated so many times, you just end up relating to that label so much more, right? So the first thing that I want to ask you is, what do you think is the payoff for you for believing that label? Like what advantages do you get from believing that label?
I guess none. Yeah, I mean, if I
Exactly.
believed it, then I wouldn't have, yeah, if I wouldn't have done so many things, I guess.
Right. And what's the cost of having believed that label? Right. Like,
Yeah, I think it held me back for a long time from doing the things that I really wanted to do. That gave me, happiness and fulfillment.
right, exactly. And the next thing that I want you to think about is what kind of reaction. Okay, can you hear me well? I just got a message saying that I can't hear you well. Can you hear me well, Kathy? Is there
Yeah,
a
I can.
problem with the audio?
Your voice is breaking a little bit, but I guess I can hear you.
Okay, okay. I don't know. My Wi-Fi just died, so I'm on the cellular network. That's probably what is causing this. I hope you can hear me. If not, then at least at the end we're going to show you the question. So I hope you get a screenshot of that so that that can really help you get to this, space of clarity. Uh, so yeah, the next thing that I want you to think about is what kind of reaction believing that label invoked in you. Because that's again, those are again points where you know you need to heal your story in order to get to that space of, living a fulfilled life. And that reaction can be anything. It can be an emotional reaction, it can be an addiction, it can be feeling anxiety, even like depression episodes.
Yeah, I think anxiety for sure. Probably even imposter syndrome because I had imposter syndrome for a while. Um, yeah, so that.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. And now what I want you to do is I want you to turn the belief around, right? Like uh, the label that I am underconfident, I want you to turn that around in an empowered way and then attach evidence to that belief that supports that the label is no longer true.
Right. I think I would say that I'm not underconfident now because I have I've started like two ed tech startups. I'm doing a podcast. I'm doing so many other things that give me, fulfillment. And I still have to work very hard in my day to make myself believe that I'm not underconfident, but that I'm confident enough. But yeah, I think uh, that's the evidence.
Yeah. One small tweak that I have to make is rather than saying I am not confident, just say I am confident because I do all of these things. Because whenever you have a negative phrase following I am statement, your subconscious is just going to reject that negative and it's just going to believe that you're not. So just say confident because I do things, and that's evidence supporting that I'm confident.
Right. Okay. Cool.
That's very simple. Again, this is a very scaled down version of the actual exploring theory that we just did. But I think it's still really powerful because, at least you start taking and I hope you guys can hear me well.
I think, okay, yeah, I think now it's better. We can see your video as well.
Okay, cool. All right, so I want you guys to do everyone, like this is not just this is Ayana and everyone who's on the call. I want you to just like, get comfortable, get yourself a backrest. If you're not sitting in a comfortable chair, get to a comfortable chair, somewhere where you can completely relax. And I want you to close your eyes and I want you to take a couple of deep breaths. Let's have another deep breath into your nose and out through your mouth. I want you to try and completely relax yourself physically. Now what I want you to do is I want you to think about your life like you were 89 years old today, right? So whatever, how many X number of years in the future, I want you to picture yourself that today is that day. You are 89 years old and you are living your life. And I want you to picture and imagine that everything has gone your way. Everything has gone as well as it possibly could. And you have achieved your goals and you have, done the things that you wanted to do. This is basically the realization of the life of your dreams. And what I want you to think about is the various details of your life. Details such as what kind of a place do you live in? Remember, you're 89 years old. This is the life of your dream, right? Like everything's gone well. What house do you live in? Who do you live with? I want you to bring that complete picture in your mind. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when I say, like, how do you spend your day? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? And it can be anything. You can spend your day gardening, reading, drawing, walking and playing with your dogs, whatever, anything, like playing chess with your partner. What's the first thing that comes to your mind that really stands out? And I want you to picture what kind of a food, what kind of food do you eat, what kind of meals do you have, how do you nourish your body, how do you move your body, what kind of exercise do you do? Do you go walk? Do you swim? Do you dance? Do you cycle? Just bring every aspect of your life at 89 into your mind's eye. What kind of clothes do you wear? What kind of shoes do you wear? Just like describe yourself completely in your mind's eye. What kind of a vehicle do you drive? Do you have pets? Anything that's important to you? If you're into music, do you still play music? If you're a dancer, do you still dance? And I want you to take a deep breath at this point and really feel that all of that is true for you. All of that is happening for you. All of that is working for you. Everything that you have in your mind's eye is actually happening to you. And I want you to slowly come back and open your eyes. Again, this was also a very small demonstration of a much extensive visualization that you can do in order to know which way you want to go. So, when you actually pause and ask yourself, what is it that you truly want? You always know. Your answers are always there. There's no one else who can tell you what is it that you want, right? The only difference is a lot of us, most of us, are never taught how to access that. And that's exactly what an enabler like me would do, to just get you to that space of what is it that you want, where is it that you are going. I think, Kathy, can we move to the next slide?
Yeah. Yes.
So these are some of the questions that we actually discussed today. And, if you want, you can take a screenshot of it and have them. If you're some of the journals, you journal it out. If you want to type it out, type it out. But just explore these questions so that you at least get that starting point of this journey that you are on. And that's all that we had for today. Kathy, do you want to add something?
No, I think that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. We'll just open it up for a Q&A. I think one of the other things is, if you want to follow us on Instagram, like me and Shalvika, these are our Instagram handles. And feel free to ask any questions.
Cool, I think there are no questions. I think mention, I don't know if I'm saying her name correctly, but I think you have to drop off connection. And Diana says if there are no questions. So, all right, connect with us if at any point you have any questions or you want to just talk about it, or you want to understand the process, just reach out. We're always available.